A few days ago, I did a video talking about Smith & Wesson versus Ruger, and how this notion that Rugers are inherently stronger is ridiculous, that they're only stronger in specific cases. Well, some people lost their shit because of this. Something so simple and true made them so angry. They're like, I can't believe you think about Ruger. It's like, good Lord, people, get over it. What's really funny is I know a lot of these people actually looked up the things I said and found out I was right, but then still chose to throw their little fits and hold on to their ignorance. People love to hold on to their ignorance for some reason. And talk about people who complain about, the left being overly sensitive or PC people being a problem, but then as soon as you say anything that they might perceive as being slight bit negative, they nearly piss themselves. It's so funny. I don't even know where this mindset comes from. I think it's from this new generation of people that think that gun magazines do actual good reviews. They actually review a firearm, or that these YouTube channels that do presentations are actually doing reviews. And since they never say nothing negative, if you say anything negative, then obviously you didn't like the gun. If you say this gun is excellent in this way, 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 but the hammer's a little rough, they'll be like, how dare you slander that gun? They just can't handle anything negative. Mainly because they think that these praising presentations, often sponsored presentations, are somehow reviews, so therefore they can't handle real reviews. But that's not even what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is some things that were said in that video about Ruger itself. Mainly why some people said that they wouldn't own a Ruger, they'd never buy a Ruger, and that they hate Ruger. And the statement I specifically want to address is people that said that they hate Ruger, they would never buy a Ruger because of what Bill Ruger did, how he sold us out back in the 80s. Well, first off, let's talk about how ridiculous it is to hold an entire company responsible today for something some old man said 30-something years ago. That's like saying you live next door to a family of people called the Smiths, and the Smiths are wonderful people. They volunteer, they were in the Peace Corps, they are active in their community, they help children learn how to read after school, they're just wonderful people. But you think that whole family's shit because their 88-year-old grandpa once called the black checker at the Piggly Wiggly colored. That's how stupid it is to hold Ruger responsible for something Bill Ruger said back in the 80s. And let's look at what he actually said. What did he actually say? What he did is he wrote a letter to Congress, who at the time was planning on banning a whole set of guns. They were just going to say, any gun that meets these criteria, they're banned outright. What he said is, hey, instead of trying to create classifications for guns that really don't make any sense and trying to ban any type of gun, why don't we just limit magazine capacity to 15? He was basically trying to stop a ban on a lot of guns. The assault weapons ban was what he was trying to stop. And he thought that that was a restriction you could possibly overcome in the future more easily. Because if you actually banned the guns, they'd stop making them. There'd be no manufacturers making them anymore. If you just limited the magazines, that could change a lot more easily and guns could go back to being the way they were. And regardless of what you think of Bill Ruger, let's look at Ruger as a company. It is a truly American company, one of very few nowadays. It is a company that employs American workers here in the States, one of very few nowadays. And as far as customer service goes, Ruger is probably the best in the business. They take care of their customers and they make a fine product. A lot of people think that because I prefer Smith, I don't like Rugers. I like Rugers just fine. I own several Rugers. I love Rugers almost as much as I love Smith & Wesson. But I'm not telling you you have to love Rugers. If you want to dislike Rugers because you're like, they're too bulky, that's fine. They are kind of bulky. If you want to dislike them because they're too heavy, well, that's fine. They are kind of heavy. If you just don't like the way they look, that's fine. That's your choice. But if you want to try to totally condemn a company, a great American company that employs American workers, makes a great product, and then stands behind their product based on the words of an old man from 30-something years ago, an old man, by the way, who probably contributed more to the handgun industry than anyone since Colt or Browning. If you want to condemn them on something he said or what you think he said 30-something years ago, get over it. You ain't even my real dad.